Four guys made a dream come alive. Chi-Town was the place of its birth, but Rotary's dream today spans the earth.
Join the scouts as we tell you how we came from then all the way to now. We swear before any notary, this is the history of Rotary. The past is anxious and set to go, so settle back and enjoy the show. We swear before any notary, this is the history of Rotary.
A man with a dream. Born in Wisconsin in 1868, Paul Harris spent most of his boyhood in a small town in Vermont. After studying at Princeton, he obtained a law degree at the University of Iowa. He then set off on a 5-year vagabond odyssey, traveling about the country and abroad. He worked as a news reporter for the San Francisco Chronicle and as an itinerant fruit picker in California farmlands, and as a business college teacher in Los Angeles. Then it was off to Colorado, where he did a stint as an actor in Denver's old 15th Street Theater. Then as a news reporter again, and eventually as a cowboy riding the range. Later, after bouncing around the East Coast for a while, he hired on as a seaman and sailed to England on a derelict ship with no mattresses or eating utensils. In 1896, he finally settled down in Chicago, where he rented a small office and hung out his law shingle. But business was scarce and friendships hard to come by. Paul Harris hit on a solution to both problems on February 23, 1905. That historic day, he met with his friend and client, Sylvester Shealy, a coal dealer, along with Hiram Shorey, a merchant tailor, and Gus Lohr, a mining engineer. And Paul told the three of them just what he had in mind.
So, you see, we could form a club that would boost business and foster fellowship.
I'm not sure I follow you.
Well, we'd all do business with each other, and we would get together once a week or so for lunch and a few laughs.
Where would we meet?
Hey, how about that bar at Madame Dolly's?
I was thinking that we could rotate the meetings from one of our offices to the other.
That sounds good. And we could call ourselves the Rotation Club.
Sounds like a whirling derby society to me.
Then how about we call it the Rotary Club?
Hey, I like it. But how can we be sure we'd ever get any business?
Simple. It's a reciprocity thing. I buy a suit from Hiram, then I file a suit for you when Gus here doesn't pay for the coal you deliver, and so forth.
Wait a minute. I pay my bills on time.
You're just hypothetical, Gus.
So how do we keep out the competition?
That's the beauty of it. The club will have just one fellow in each profession.
Brilliant!
One lawyer and one tailor and one mining engineer. One can save the other's soul. And the chief's business goal is fun, son. Wow, we want a candy mission. Now we won't have competition, just
One banker and one baker. Each will need the other's dough.
I get it.
One solemn undertaker. We'll need him when we go. Hiram?
One gent from every profession can join the club. We'll thrive on reciprocity. That's the nub. One dentist and one doctor.
Maybe a proctologist.
Put him on the waiting list.
we want a candy mission. Now we won't have competition, just more fun.
And so it began. But as the meetings wore on that first year, the jokes eventually got a bit stale, and the reciprocity accounts got out of whack. The club needed more fulfilling purpose than merely mutual trade promotion and fellowship. And so it was that at a 1907 meeting, the membership adopted Rotary's third objective, community service.
All right then, we're all agreed. The club needs to do something in the charitable line. But what will it be?
Say, I know a preacher down in Joliet whose horse recently kicked the bucket. The poor fellow can't make the rounds to see his parishioners.
Well, we sure don't want to see Satan getting a toehold in Joliet. You know what? I suggest we buy the poor parson a pony.
I second the motion.
All in favor of that poor parson pony proposition? The motion carries. Now, does anyone have any other ideas?
I was thinking, maybe there's something we can do for our old friend, the city of Chicago.
That's a grand idea.
Pardon me, boys, but I think what the city really needs is a good, clean, public restroom.
What's that, Hiram?
I said,
We boys